Hey, I'm Liv, welcome back to my channel Endless Pages, and welcome to today's video, which is a weekend reading vlog. Hello, welcome back to another weekend reading vlog. I filmed one of these about 2 weeks ago, I think it was, and I had a lot of fun filming that, and I had a productive reading weekend, so I thought it was time to do another one. I'm very excited to film this. I'm in such a reading vlog mood, and I'm in such a reading mood. I popped the poll in my bookish group, friendship group's Discord page, because I couldn't decide what I wanted to read over the weekend, so I gave them 5 options. So I will show you what I put in the poll. First up, The Silence Project. This is by Carol Haley, and then I gave them Ace of Spades by Faraday Abike Ayemi, I think, sorry, that's how you say that. I also gave them My Heart is a Chainsaw by Stephen Graham Jones. The 4th option was A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik, and the 5th option and the winner of the poll was surprisingly this one, Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel. I don't know why, but I was really surprised that this won. Yeah, I think this won by one vote. So yeah, this is a book set, I guess it's like a dystopian novel, I think, set in a pandemic. A global pandemic. I think this was written way before COVID. I've always been like unsure whether I want to pick this one up because obviously we've lived through a global pandemic. 2014, so this was way before COVID. So yeah, I am a little scared that this is going to be a little bit too close to home. I know my friend Amy was like, I couldn't do it, it was too close to COVID. So I'm hoping that like enough time has passed between the pandemic and now that it won't be so like, oh no, like reliving the pandemic. So yeah, this is, I'll read you the blurb. So Kristen Raymond will never forget the night Arthur Leander, the famous Hollywood actor, had a heart attack on stage during a production of King Lear. That was also the night when a devastating flu pandemic arrived in the city, and within weeks civilizations as we know it came to an end. 20 years later, Kristen moves between the settlements of the altered world with a small troupe of actors and musicians. They call themselves the Traveling Symphony, and they have dedicated themselves to keeping the remnants of art and humanity alive. But when they arrive in St. Deborah by the water, they encounter a violent prophet who will threaten the tiny band's existence. And as the story takes off, moving back and forth in time and vividly depicting life before and after the pandemic, the strange twist of fate that connects them all will be revealed. I'm so intrigued by this blurb. The violent prophet has me so intrigued. That's probably what got me so interested in this book. So yeah, I'm a little bit nervous to start this. I don't know if it's going to be my cup of tea. I don't know if it's going to be too much like COVID that I won't be able to read it. So I mean, what award did it win? National Book Award finalist. I'm assuming that's British or American award. I should probably know that. Oh, it's all American reviews. I'm going to assume that's American award. So I think it is like a really well liked book, but yeah, I don't know if this will be me, but we'll find out. Hopefully I enjoy this. So my plan is to start this tonight, and I will update you hopefully again tonight at some point when I have read a good chunk of this book. Good morning. It's now Sunday. It's like 7:30 in the morning, hence why I look awful, but yeah, so my reading night didn't super go as planned last night. I probably made the first mistake by lying in bed reading, and I fell asleep pretty early. I actually genuinely have no idea what time I fell asleep last night, but I like passed out with the book in my hand. Yeah, I passed out last night, woke up and then fell back asleep. So I was clearly really tired last night, end of the work week, and I'm still like not quite 100% well from being sick. Like I still have a sore throat that I can't quite shake, like it just won't quite go away. So I think my body probably still wanted to rest. That doesn't mean I didn't do any reading though. I did a teensy bit of reading, so better than not reading at all. I did manage to start Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel. And so far so good. I didn't read heaps. I only read like 52 pages, but better than nothing, right? So yeah, so far I'm really liking the writing style. I think the writing is really beautiful so far, which is always a great sign to have that feeling right at the start of a book. I'm liking the writing style. So far we've only really seen the start of the pandemic with the King Lear play and kind of this actor dying, and then we after that start to see the infection in hospitals. The first perspective we read from has a friend that works at a hospital and he's training to be a paramedic, so you kind of get their perspective at the start of this pandemic. And yeah, it is so mirroring real life, because some people are saying like the healthcare professionals are like, this is bad, this is spreading crazy quick, the incubation period is nuts, like we need to do something. And you've got the general public being like, it's just like a scare, it'll go away. So that was like a little bit like, oh my god, is Emily St. John Mandel a psychic? Because it really feels like she is a psychic at this point. But yeah, so you kind of get that perspective at the start, and then we've slowly begun to meet, I can't remember their full name, the traveling symphony. I can't say that word, symphony. We kind of see a little bit of the interactions between the people in the symphony, what they do, how they travel, and we've met our main character. Is it Kristen or Kirsten? I can't actually remember. Kirsten, who's our main character. And in the blurb, it says that there will be like connections. We've already kind of had a connection that I thought was really clever in the first 50 pages of the book. So far I'm quite impressed by the writing. I'm quite into the story. We've only just really arrived in the town where I think this violent prophet is. And they're kind of aware that something weird's going on, but they're not quite sure what yet. But they notice that this town that they've traveled to before is a little bit different. A lot of the stores that people used to live in are now boarded up, so they're starting to be aware that something's going on. People in the town are interacting with them very weirdly. So I'm so sad that like I left off at probably the introduction of this violent prophet. So I'm really excited now, actually today though, that this is my starting point. So I'm starting off at a good point. Yeah, so I'm going to read this, I guess, because I'm awake. I couldn't get back to sleep. I don't know if it was my body clock that woke me up at 7:30 or if I generally had enough sleep because I went to bed so early. I don't know. 7:30 is normally when I wake up from a work week, so I have a feeling it was my body clock waking me up. But that's okay. I couldn't go back to sleep, and it's actually quite peaceful to be up at this time of the morning. So I plan on just jumping straight into this morning. It's a really, really lovely day. You can't see it because it's too bright, so I had to close my blinds, but we've had weeks of rain here, just weeks and weeks of endless rain. So it is beautiful to see the sun. It is so nice to see the sun. So either today or tomorrow I want to go for a nice walk and just like soak up the sun, because I've missed it so much. Sorry that this update was very croaky. I'm still not 100%, and I don't think talking all this time is helping either. So I'm going to go off. I'm going to read and update you again. Maybe if I can get to like the 150 page mark, I'll update you then, or before then if something dramatic happens that I want to talk about. Hello, it's 12:15 and I've already hit my reading goal for the day. Can you believe it? I'm at 158 pages of Station 11 and I just like cannot believe how fast I'm moving through this book. I probably said it on this channel a million times. I'm the slowest of slow readers, so the fact that I am already at 150 pages at like 12:15 is absolutely insane and just shows like how much I'm really enjoying this book. I'm just, again, like I said in the last update, I'm absolutely loving the writing style. It's quite beautiful, and I think the pandemic is kind of more like a setting than the main focus of this book. This book is very much more about the writing style, I think, and more about the characters than it is about any overarching plot of like this prophet or the pandemic. that's just kind of a setting for this book. Your focus is really the characters and the characters' lives before and after their whole world changed. So yeah, we're following a few different characters. We're getting to know more about Arthur, who is the guy that I said on the blurb. He's the famous Hollywood actor that had a heart attack during his performance of King Lear, Shakespeare's King Lear. So you're really getting to know more about him, which is just like, I feel like in any other book I'd be bored, but it's so good. I'm so surprised that I like this book, because the more I read, the more I'm like, this is so not normally my cup of tea. Like, you're literally just like getting to know this actor and his life and his different relationships throughout the different stages of his life, both romantic and his friendships, which I find really fascinating. And watching, he's a really interesting character to see develop, and not necessarily in a good way. We also follow our main character, Kirsten, who I think I told you about in the last update, and she is like obsessed with learning more about Arthur. She comes across him in celebrity gossip magazines 20 years later, and is kind of obsessed with figuring him out in his lives and finding little bits of snippets of information about him, which is really interesting. And like I said in the first update, there's already been kind of one connection in this book, and I think I'm slowly getting teased about a second connection in this book. And I just think it's really clever how all of these lives join together, you know, 20 years after the fact, 20 years after this apocalyptic kind of lifestyle started. So yeah, and as the setting's beautiful, you just kind of travel along with this symphony and see how they live their lives and how they keep art alive in this world where, yeah, entertainment's not really a thing anymore. And it's beautiful to see the impact that they have in these small towns where they're just starved of joy, of entertainment, of art, of beauty. They just live to live. Like that's not what I meant to say. Their day-to-day is just survival. There's no joy, any of the luxuries of the old world. So seeing the fact that they bring people so much joy and people are so moved by their art is really, really nice to read about, despite what a hard life it is being part of this traveling symphony and kind of the dangers that brings. We have had little bits of the prophet. We've had one scene and he's literally like, yeah, the leader of like a religious cult, I would describe it as. And we've seen a little bit of the impact about this town, his impact on this town that he has arrived in, and kind of the destruction that he has laid on this town. Yeah, we're slowly getting fed little bits of information about him. I have a theory about who he is, and I think it'll be a really cool payoff if he is who I think he is. I think maybe he's one of the connections, unless I'm just reading too much into it, but that would be really cool if he is who I think he is. So hopefully we learn more about the prophet and that pays off, because we haven't really like heard much about him yet. So I'm hoping he is there for a purpose and he's not just a side plot. Like, I hope he has a purpose and a reason for being in the story. Anyway, literally all I've done all day is just read this book. Like, my focus has been so good. Normally I have very bad focus when I'm reading, but I've been so focused on reading this, so absorbed in the story, and I'm just absolutely loving it. Yeah, this is so good, and I cannot believe I like this book. It's just something I normally would never pick up, so I'm so happy that I'm enjoying it. I'm so happy that this was voted in the poll. Yeah, that's all I have to say is I'm loving this, and I'm probably gonna go have some lunch now, watch some Survivor, because I'm an episode behind and it's Sunday, so I think another episode comes out tonight, so I need to catch up before tonight's episode, and then after lunch and Survivor I will jump straight back into this. Hello, it is now about 6 o'clock at night and I have another mini update of Station 11 for you. I have literally been reading all day, other than like a quick TV break and a little mini nap, which I only had a nap because I put the heater on and fell asleep in front of it. But other than that, I've literally been reading this all day. I'm now on page
158 of this book, and I'm still absolutely loving the writing style. I feel like I am so emotionally connected to these characters, some more than others, and I say that because we got introduced to characters at the start of the book that I feel like we haven't heard from in like 100-ish pages, and this book is only 330 pages, so that's a long time in a book of this length not to hear from a character. Like, she's mentioned on the back and it's made to seem that she's the main character, but we haven't heard from her in so long. As well as this prophet that again is mentioned in the blurb and made to seem like a major part of this book. We've only had one whole scene in this whole book so far. Like I said, in 258 pages, we've had one scene from the prophet. So while I am absolutely adoring this book and eating it up, I feel like maybe perhaps the blurb is a little bit misleading in what the focus of this book is. I feel like it should just say that it's more of just like an exploration of these characters and their relationships, their identity, what they see as important, how they deal with the current situation without going crazy thinking about how they had it in the past. And I just feel like putting this whole like violent prophet in the blurb just wasn't necessary, and he's really not a main focus. Like, it could be the last, how many pages do I have left? I can't do maths. Like, what, 60 odd pages? Is that right? 30 plus. No, that's way off. Yeah, I just feel like I wouldn't put this prophet in the blurb. Like, he's not a major part of this book at all. Hello, it's now Monday and let's do another update. So I did end up finishing Station 11 last night, and I did really like the ending. It was really bittersweet. I love that there was a bit of sadness mixed with a little bit of hope. Overall, I absolutely adored this book. Like, I cannot believe that I read minus 50 pages this whole thing yesterday. That like never happens for me. I absolutely adored it. I thought it was beautiful and moving and sad and such a good, I don't know, it made you think about how you treat your relationships, how you treat the people that you love. And I mean, if everything that you loved and knew was taken away from you, how would you handle that? Of course, and how everyone kind of reflects on their life beforehand and how they lived their lives, how they treated the people that they love. And I just love that despite the setting they were in, humanity still managed to have like a little bit of humanity, if that makes sense. Like, people still had empathy despite this incredibly harsh and dangerous world. There was still joy through art and music and human connection, and people were making new relationships despite losing the relationships that meant so much to them, and people were still able to survive and make new connections. This book is no plot, just vibes. Just vibes. Like, there is no plot in this book, or it is very, very minor. We do get to see more of the prophet, but only like one more scene, which was a little bit disappointing. Again, like I said in the last update, it seems like a major part of this book and it really isn't. So that's why I'm conflicted on what to rate this, because I absolutely flew through this. I absolutely adored this book, but it's not as advertised. And it's just, I don't know. I'm thinking 4.5. I was like 4, and then I was like, no, but I loved this book. It feels like more than a 4, but it's not a 5. So maybe I think 4.5. I don't know. My rating could change. I'm still not like 100% set on it, but for now I'm thinking 4.5 for this book. I was so thoroughly surprised by how much I adored this book. So thoroughly surprised. So yeah, absolutely loved that. Finished that last night after I watched Survivor, and it was a good episode of Survivor. Unfortunately, it was kind of predictable who was going to go. Like, it wasn't a surprise. So I was hoping for a bit of a mix-up and a surprise on who got voted out, but it was predictable. Whatever. Some episodes you just know who's going to go. So that was my night. I finished this, watched Survivor. I was really unsure what I wanted to do today. I kind of wanted to do something, also because I wanted some footage for this vlog, but I was like, no, I have a huge week coming up and I don't want to add to my tiredness by doing something big today and having to like walk there and get public transport and walk back. So I just went for a walk to my local shops, which is still a significant walk, and got a sweet treat, got my Coke, my crack, and then walked back. So the sun was out for a little bit, and it was like I was in this t-shirt and that's it. It was so good. I was so warm and hot and sweaty. It was so nice to be warm. Fuck off, winter. Winter can fuck off. Spring is coming, and I really felt it in the air today, and it was so lovely. So I decided to pick up a small book and see if I can finish it today. Probably not, but we'll see how I go. This is Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. This is a really popular Japanese translated book. I want to read more translated books, especially Japanese, because I read The Traveling Cat Chronicles, who I can't see who that's by, my eyesight is horrible, and absolutely adored that book. So I wanted to try out more Japanese translated books. So this one is probably, I'd say, the most popular Japanese translated book at the moment. Basically it's about this cafe where you can sit and you can go back in time, but you have to get back before your coffee gets cold. And there's 4 stories, like 4 individual stories within this book about different people that come to the cafe to travel back into the past. So we have the lovers, husband and wife, the sisters, and a mother and child. So far, I'm not super obsessed. I've read 56 pages. I've read the first story, which was the lovers, and I just feel like I didn't emotionally connect to the story or the characters. Like, I didn't feel sympathy for the character. It felt really rushed, and I was just like, oh, okay. It was very rushed. The actual going back in time didn't really last that long. So it only felt like it was a couple of pages. So far, not super impressed by this book, which is concerning, but that's only one of the stories. I've got 3 stories to go, so maybe the next story I will emotionally connect to a little bit more. But so far, not super impressed by the writing. I don't know if it's like how it was translated, or I just don't like the writing. I don't know. We'll see how I find the other stories. I should go because I don't want my pasta to be overcooked, and I'm upstairs and I'm concerned that the kitchen is on fire. Anyway, that's my update. I better go because I'm starving and I think my pasta should be done. So I'll update you maybe when I've read another one of these stories, hopefully.
Hello, it's time to give you my final thoughts of Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. I realised when I was editing this video that I never gave my final thoughts on the book. So I apologise, my thoughts aren't going to be like crazy fresh, but we'll give it our best shot. And I also apologise if you can hear banging and a lot of noise in the background. The house in our street is literally getting bulldozed, so it's really noisy, but I had to film and I fear this noise will be going on for weeks, so I'm going to be waiting for an opportunity of silence that's probably not going to come for a while. So I apologise if you can hear it. I'm hoping the mic isn't picking it up too badly. So, Before the Coffee Gets Cold. I think in my last update, I probably should have watched it before I filmed this. I'd only read one of the stories. In this, there's 4 stories, 4 short stories, and honestly, my enjoyment has decreased. No, actually not decreased majorly. It stayed the same. I didn't like this book. I gave it 3 stars. I ended up giving it 3 stars. I didn't enjoy it. I told you about the first story, I think. The second story, if I'm remembering correctly, so loud out there. The husband and wife. Okay, so story 2 and 3, the husband and wife and the sisters, was just like a teensy bit better than the first story, which was the lovers, if I remember correctly. Yeah, the lovers. So the only reason I say that they were slightly better is because there was like a tiny little bit of like build up towards it. You had interacted with these characters and kind of seen the start of their stories in the first story. So I felt like I had a tiny little bit more of a connection with them because I had kind of some context for them rather than just jumping into the story. Again, I have the same arguments about these 2 stories and the last story, which was definitely the worst. Which was Mother and Child. Yeah, the same thoughts as I did in the first story. They were crazy short. The actual time that they spend in the past is really small and not enough. Yeah, not enough. The whole book is meant to be about going back to the past to relive these moments, and they spend like 5 minutes in these moments. Like, it's so quick that nothing really significant happens, or if it does, it's like really, really, really rushed. Yeah, the last story was mother and child, and I just felt that like I didn't care. I didn't care about these characters. I thought that this was not very well written, to be honest. Yeah, I didn't like the writing style. I thought it wasn't very well written at all. And I actually, it took me so long to finish this book. Like, so long. Like, it took me all of the rest of the day, I think, when I was reading this, because I was just putting it down so much because I really, really didn't want to pick it back up. I cannot believe how overhyped this book is. This is such a popular book. I saw there's like 5 or 6 in this universe now, and I really don't understand the hype. I really don't. I feel no emotional connection to the characters. The stories are too short and super rushed, and nothing really significant happens. I mean, they even kind of made the point themselves in the final chapter, being like, you know, nothing changed, but it affected, it didn't change the past, but it affected who they are now. And I was just so over it by that point that I was like, I don't really care. I don't care. Nothing happens in this book. It is really bad, and I cannot believe how much I dislike this book. I'm gonna give it 3 stars. I don't think it's a 2-star. Like, it wasn't like a fiery hatred. If it's fiery hatred, that's 2 stars. It wasn't fiery hatred. I just highly disliked it and was highly bored by it. So that is my incredibly surprising review of the Before the Coffee Gets Cold. I will not be jumping back into this universe. I will be not DNFing. I finished. I will be unhauling this book from my collection because I don't want to look at it. I can't believe I didn't like it this much. Thank you so much for watching this weekend reading vlog. I genuinely think these are my new favorite things to film. Like, they're just so easy to film. They're quick to pump out because they're not week long that I have to wait until I can upload it. So I definitely think I'll be filming more whenever I get the chance, whenever I have kind of a weekend to myself to film something like this, because I have a lot of fun filming them. And I read 2 books in one weekend, which is wild for me. We had 4.5 stars with Station 11 and 3 stars with Before the Coffee Gets Cold. So not too shabby at all. Let me know in the comments below, what book are you planning on reading this weekend? I actually have no idea what I'm going to be reading this weekend. I will have to figure that out. Thank you so much for watching this video. Give the video a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you'd like to see some more of my absolutely chaotic content. And I will see you in whatever the hell I post next. Bye!